Question 16. Which statement about exothermic and endothermic reactions is correct? So this question will require us to draw out an energy profile diagram of a reaction. An energy profile diagram monitors the change in energy levels of the substances, whether they are reactants or products, across the entire reaction progress or the duration of the reaction. So let's assume that we have a reaction that is exothermic. We know that an exothermic reaction will have an overall energy change between the reactant and the product of a negative enthalpy change in terms of heat energy in this case. And the hump that the reactants have to overcome is also known as the activation energy. And then there is a fall in the energy from the peak of the hump to the final energy level of the products formed. Let's break down this energy profile diagram into the increase to the peak of the hump and this decrease from the peak to the energy of the products formed. The increase in energy, let's call it a gain or using up the energy from the environment. This is involved in bond breaking. Existing bonds must break first before new bonds can be formed. Then the fall in energy level is otherwise known as the release or loss of energy. Loss of energy from the substance or the reactants specifically, and this energy is released into the environment. This is associated with bond formation. Only after bond breaking and bond formation can the final products be produced. So let's take a look at option A. It says that in an endothermic reaction, the activation energy is greater than the energy used when the bonds are formed. This statement is wrong in itself because it is incorrect to say energy used when the bonds are formed. Bond formation, again, allows for the release or loss of energy, while using up energy from the environment is during bond breaking, not bond formation. Therefore, this option is wrong. So is this option, because again, energy used when the bonds are formed, this is an incorrect statement. Option B states that in an endothermic reaction, the activation energy is less than the energy released when the bonds are formed. So what we are comparing now is the activation energy, which is the height of this hump here, which is the amount of energy increased for the reactants, and the energy released when bonds are formed, which is the height of this section from the peak of the hump to the product's energy level. So if an activation energy is less than the amount of energy released, meaning the height of the hump is smaller than the energy released, this amount is smaller than this amount, which is according to what we have drawn here, it is an exothermic reaction because overall there is a fall in the energy level. There is a negative enthalpy change. Therefore, in an endothermic reaction, the activation energy is less than the energy released. This is wrong because it should be an exothermic reaction instead, leaving us with D as the correct answer.